right. Just want to welcome everyone to the call tonight. We're very excited to do our first call with RadienLife, and we've got some great information for you. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on the call with us tonight. And what I'd like to do right now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the president of the company. I've known for over 15 years, an incredible individual, has a lot of experience in the field and actually running companies, and he's actually owned a couple of his own companies. So I'm going to turn this call over to Mr. David Freed. Thank you, David, for being with us tonight.
Okay, well, thank you, Barry, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you taking time to call in tonight. This is going to be a little bit different kind of call tonight. It's going to be informative in a way that you've probably not experienced very often. And I know everybody has busy schedules, but something caused you tonight to take a little of that time of yours to listen to this call this evening. That being said, I'm going to be brief, as we're confident that this time that you spend tonight with us will be well spent. We believe that a perfect storm is in the making at RadienLife, and most importantly, it's because of a product line that's a result of more than $100 million invested, more than 20 years in research and development. As a result of that, there's been several clinically documented breakthroughs, and that's resulted in the RadienLife skincare line. Greg Pilant, who we have on the line with us tonight, is the founder of RadienLife and all associated companies as well, and the patent holder of these breakthrough products as well, in addition to that. I've known Greg for almost 30 years. We've been in business together previously, and I was fortunate enough to receive a call from Greg in just this past December. To make a long story not so long, he had kept me informed in previous years, as time went on some of his advancements with this technology. And as he shared the latest updates in December, it became obvious to both of us that direct sales was the perfect way to take these products to the consumer and ultimately around the world. So I'm going to let him share the good stuff and just say that there's no one that I'd rather be working with when the stakes and the opportunity is this high. It has the magnitude that we have here with RadienLife, and that's Greg Pilant. And Barry, I've known for, as he said, over 15 years, and he was one of the first two key people that I called to help position us for this endeavor. So it's a pleasure to be working with both Greg and Barry. So, Barry, I'm going to turn the call back to you so you can cover the good stuff.
All right, David, I appreciate that. We're excited tonight to do our first call with RadienLife, and I've had the pleasure to meet Greg Pilant. I went out and met with him a couple of weeks ago, and he's a straight shooter. He's an honest person, and it's been a pleasure to spend time with him over the past couple of weeks. And what I'd like for Greg to do tonight is just kind of give you an overview of how this company got started and the past 20 years of what he's been doing, to give you some insight of what I received when I went out there and met him a couple of weeks ago. It's exciting. We're loving the product line that we're using, and I think you're going to feel the same way once you get a chance to use the product. So, Greg, if you will, why don't you just give us an overview of the past 20 years?
Okay. Barry, thank you for inviting me. Dave, thank you for being on the call. Dave Freed, it's a pleasure to be with you folks. Let me give you a little background, going back into first in the 80s, to give you a little history on how we came up with this scientific skincare that I think you'll find by the end of tonight is totally different and has absolutely a predictable result and does have actual, medical type breakthroughs in a skincare line. So to start, I go back to really where I got into the medical arena in biotech, an endeavor to solve a problem with mainly diabetic ulcers and other type of chronic ones that would not heal. I had experienced over earlier days in the medical business that this was a very ignored group of people. Very often, the medical community had not given it the kind of attention that I felt like it was needed. And basically, they would just attempt to base wound care treatments, and people were kind of set aside. And eventually, often, those people would have to go through amputation. And one of the issues that we had researched was 50% of the people that go through an amputation will not live over 12 months. So it really alters the whole body as it relates to blood flow and other issues, and the body just starts falling apart as an amputation takes place. So we took that on as a project to figure out. In the 90s, we did a lot of research in Europe and had a number of PhDs that worked for us in that area of researching chronic wounds. And one of the things we were able to do is get biopsies of wounds that had not responded for 6 months to a year. And the government gave us a lot of leeway over there. And we did a histopathology that showed that these chronic wounds, over 80% of the time, were due to very high particular proteinase. And in fact, back then it was a little easier to look at a particular matrix metalloproteinase, which I'll just call MMPs. We were looking and staining for 2s in the histopathology because at that point that was about the only way we had to do it. Now it's become much more sophisticated, and we know that it's actually MMPs 1s, 2s, 8s, and 9s. There's actually over 30 proteases, considerably over 30 matrix metalloproteinases in the body that are used for different purposes at different times. But in a chronic wound, these MMP 8s and 9s are supposed to come into the wound, clean it up, and allow then for scaffolding to take place in the healing cascade for tissue to start migrating into that wound. Well, when the MMPs in some people, and we have no way of predicting which ones are going to react normally and which ones are not. But in these people that get this chronicity in the wound, we started taking biopsies, and we found that the proteases, instead of reducing after 2 or 3 days, they started elevating. And the elevation wasn't just minor. There's a rating that we have of these types of proteases, and instead of being 18 or under, which is what it takes for them to heal, often it would go to 80 or 120, and then the next time we take a view of the protease level, it may be 200. So they just get completely out of anywhere in the percentage it would be in a healable environment. So we did develop a drug that originally came from an oak bark extract that I found a few years prior to that. And we were able to take this oak bark extract and put it into a carrier base, and we're able to, within about 10 days in a wound, we're able to bring those protease levels, maybe that 240, down to under 18. And at that point, the whole healing cascade would begin again. We got it approved in Europe as a CE Class 2B. We knew the FDA was going to be a problem. We then went and synthesized that drug and had a tremendous patent as it relates to the only product on the market that's ever been able to down-regulate, not inhibit, but down-regulate, actually go into the cell and turn off the production of these MMPs. So that was really the beginning of all of this. And to move you forward, in about 2006, a big study about chemical warfare and how that causes high MMPs and that potentially be a big issue in the United States. We were very involved in that study and started off about a $35 million study funded by the Department of Defense. The NIH, National Institute of Health, came in and said, well, we would like to know, while you're studying skin, why does their skin just become so thin and fragile as they especially become very elderly? And would that breakdown have any issue that would cause foot ulcers or bed sores? And so they added about another $35 million on top of that study to study the aging of the skin. And when that study was finished, they had divided people into 1 to 20 years old, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and 60 up. And the study's publication said that once a person is above 40, the protease level in the dermis has become very overactive and will start degrading that collagen. And as that collagen starts degrading, and usually I use the term 40 because at 40 up, it's consistently high. You found some people at 25-year-olds that were starting to see higher protease levels, again, matrix metalloproteinase 8s and 9s, that even at 25 years and up, it started in some people to start degrading that collagen. So we left that study saying having the only pharmaceutical compound that downregulates at the cellular level and rebalances these proteases, we had a new task, and that new task was to find out how to make it transdermal. Obviously, when we're going into a chronic wound, we're going right into the tissue, right into the bloodstream, and so it's very easy to get right to the target. In cosmetics, we needed to be able to get it through at least into the first 50% of the dermis. and to then start rebalancing the protease levels. And when that happens, the body does what the body always wants to do, which is heal itself. So really all we're doing is putting that dermis back into an environment that was more like it was in years prior to when we start applying this product by downregulating the protease. So after we found that we felt like the product really was going to work, we did a clinical study, double-blind, randomized study with 50 patients where one half of the face had our carrier, which our carrier was an outstanding carrier, and the other half had the carrier with the active ingredient. And the purpose of the study was to see if, in fact, you could tell a difference between both the length and the depth of the line. Dr. Dralos, who performed that study, at that time was the president of the American Diabetic Association, said, look, this is probably a better outcome to measure is can you stop the healing process, not reverse it. Our group had been very successful in our chronic studies. We were able to get over a 92% success rate in 32 days. And so we said, no, we really think that by lowering those proteases, we know it does that. We had proven that both in vivo and in vitro, in gene array work as well as human work. I want to add right there, too, we never use animal studies at all in our scientific skincare line, our cosmetic line. So that is just something we stay completely away from. We still do gene array work, and we do have, human clinicals, but those are the two avenues that we use. So in the study, after 9 weeks, we were able to get clinically statistical significance in both the reduction of the length of the line and the depth of the line. So if you look back in our white paper and you look at our footnotes to the Dralos study, you can see exactly how that study was performed. And it is the first product that has been able to accomplish that. And so that was the basis of this whole Radien IX product line. Now, we were more of a medical company, and we were definitely accused at the very beginning of not having that exact texture of the cosmetic, and the jars didn't look very appealing. It looked probably too medical. And so we hired in marketing people to do marketing analysis and to help us get a perfect formula to put these medicated ingredients into. And we spent a couple years with that. And philosophy is it's only as strong as its weakest link. And the carrier is awfully important here. And to have a product that has both appealing look with its containers, but something you would be proud to have on your cosmetic shelf, and something that has a nice smell that is a natural fragrance, not artificial. So we went through a number of months of just perfecting those formulas. I will tell you, if we were to take out the active ingredients, the patented and active ingredients, I think you would find that the product sitting by itself is equal to stuff you pay a lot more than what our price is, in a Macy's of the world or a Neiman Marcus or one of your better stores. We would put just the base of our product against any of those. But then you add the products that are giving the medicated effect. You have a product that really is totally different than anything that's ever been offered to the consumer. So we put that into then a day cream and a night cream and an eye cream for women, and that's where we concentrated at first. About 6 months ago, we developed a product for men, and I'm very proud of that product. It's a once-a-day use product, and you'll find that it penetrates through men's skin, which is much thicker, totally different smell, totally different product, but with the same pharmacological ingredients. About 8-10 years ago, we felt like we had really done a job that was where we wanted to get with downregulation of proteases. We started in the discovery of different types of peptides, and I feel fairly certain that the rest of my career will be really in the peptide area. With a peptide, you can make a cell either do something or not do something, and they are very versatile. We spent about 6 years compiling every peptide that had ever been published around the world. And so we built a beautiful library that did analysis of all the peptides that had been discovered. We are very excited about our future in peptides. We spent $1 million, which in research is not a lot of money, but for a computer program, it is. And that was putting and compiling every known peptide around the world. And then we did analysis on what certain sequences would accomplish and what those sequences had proven out in the past. We were able to then hook it to where we could lay out a scenario where the supercomputer would spend sometimes 2 weeks to 6 weeks. But at the end of that period of time, it would give us enough about the solution as far as sequences to get us 95% to the objective. So it was a great thing while peptides were really, even though they've been around for a long time, you've started reading about peptides a lot in the last 10 years. And I think it is the future of where medicine's going. Again, a peptide, you can make a cell do something, you can inhibit a cell from doing something, or you can activate a cell to do something. And so we have been able to develop some very good custom peptides. Peptides negatives are proteases because they're proteins, will cause a lot of that peptide to not be able to get to the target. They'll be destroyed by protease levels. So especially as you're looking at skin issues, and a lot of products that try to talk about, well, we have a peptide to help with this in the skin for elderly or aging, and if the protein, if the MNPs are so high, it just becomes impossible to get them where you need them to go. So very often you'll read about peptides and they'll have a lot of test tube data, but when it comes to real human clinical data, when they get into that battlefield in the skin, they're just simply not going to be able to accomplish what they were meant to do. One of our patents where we combine every protein with downregulation of proteases, we're able to make that peptide much more effective, much more hardy. The other thing I would tell you, most peptides on the market may have 3 or 4 sequences. They're basically pretty simple. We have peptides that will be up to 30 sequences. 28 is not unusual at all for us. And so we're able to make these peptides perform like no others. And so in these products, the eye product will have a special peptide for lightening around the eye to take dark circles out of every product. If you read through the white paper, you will find have different peptides for that purpose. Now, our day product is meant to tighten the skin. It's meant to be a great base to be able to apply makeup for the women. You put the eye product right around the eyes within about a half inch. You can put them on the eyelids, especially if you see you need it. If you're going to do that, you put just a dot of product on each side, and then, obviously with your eyes closed, just lightly spread that on eyelids. Then you're going to use the day product. The day product is the only product that you have to apply a certain way because there are tightening agents in the day product. You want to go from the middle of the face to the scalp or from the nose down to the neck. This product is a beautiful base, we're told through research, for being able to apply makeup. The product that is most medicated to do what we want to do long term is the night product. And right now we're giving everyone that buys product a cleanser and a toner. The main thing is to cleanse your face very good at night, and I suggest it too in the morning. But at night, the reason we really like this cleanser is it's important for our product to be able to get into the cells. And if the skin is not real clean, it makes our job harder. It takes the product longer to work. So a good, thorough cleanser is certainly important all the time, but especially at night before you apply our night cream. The men's product, I'm very excited about that one. We have a philosophy that men probably aren't going to remember to do it more than once. So when you get out of the shower, men, apply the product to your face, and once a day you're going to see the same kind of result in 9 weeks that the women's line does. So the basic day product for women has a little bit of a sunscreen in it. We are coming out with an option on all these lines where you're going to have a non-fragrant, no sunscreen in the day product. You're going to have options. As we just added the night cream, we also made a night cream for oily skin. And one of the reasons we did that is often younger people who now are becoming more and more aware of anti-aging products and the need for it. A lot of articles in the last 6 months about females' optimum and males should be that they start these types of regimens when they're 25, and it prevents a lot of the future aging. So a lot of times younger people will have more oily skin than people as we age. And so we wanted a product that isn't as rich being moisture for people that have oily skin. So if you find the night cream to be a little richer than you need because of the nature of your skin, you've got an option to just go in and say night cream for oily skin. So I think you'll love the line. We guarantee it. The one thing I tell everybody is if you're going to use these products, commit to 90 days. You will not see the full result and you're still going to see future results after 90 days. But you hit that first plateau of performance that's major, and that's proven in the clinicals at 90 days. You'll see a huge difference between 90 and 120. We put another peptide in the product both day and night that deals with photoaging. Photoaging is sun damage. And a lot of people in my age group were not cognizant of the damage back then. We all tend to do crazy things, not using sunblocks. In fact, anything but that, trying to burn the skin, get tan, and that causes a lot of sun damage over time. We have a peptide that as we use this product and we get into 3-4 months, 5 months, you start seeing a major difference with photoaging. And the other point, Barry, I want to make tonight, normally you would see in network marketing product prices that are higher than what people are used to paying for a particular segment of product. One of the things we have done is we brought these products in at retail. This whole set for the women are under $300 retail, considerably under $300 retail. As you progress as a distributor and you get to the maximum wholesale, you get 40% off that price. And when you look at the quality of this product, the bases, then you add these medicated benefits, that is just an outstanding price to where anybody can afford it. The men's line, one bottle lasts over 30 days. It's under $100. So pricing has been a big thing for me. I want this to be affordable for the masses, and I think we've hit that mark beautifully. We put this as a medical product line for a while just to get the experiences we needed to with our base of doctors. For our first few years, this has only been sold through doctors' offices, by the way, at a much higher price. And even though they're selling the same product, the doctor's line, instead of getting any discount, was about 40% more expensive than this. But one of the things we found, if somebody went into the doctor, they were shown these products, and they chose not to purchase the set of products, we experimented for over a year with giving them little samples. So they were either going to walk out of the doctor's office with the set, the full set, and the 90-day challenge, or they were going to walk out with a free set of samples. 82% of the experiences, the people that walked out with our sample set, came back and bought a full set within 2 weeks. And I will tell you this, we tracked this also through the doctor's offices. Once somebody got to the 120 days, we have a customer for life. The other question that's asked the doctor very often is, what if something happens to this company and I've used the product for 3 years and I can no longer get the product? What happens to my skin? And I love how the doctors explain it when they say, well, if you were to get a facelift, the day you walk out from that facelift, even though we maybe took you back 3 years or 5 years or 4 years, whatever it may be, you're going to start the aging process that next day from that point forward. And that's exactly how they explain this. If you use this product and it reverses the clock for 3 years because you've used it long enough to do that, if you were to cease using it, your aging process would start back at the same pace it would go without these products, but you would start off 3 years behind where you were. So it's exactly the same way. So these are permanent results that you're going to get from the product. So forgot about Deja Vu. We have a product called Deja Vu. A lot of people have seen all this on the internet where you apply a product and just within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you'll see this immediate result. I'll be honest with you, I kind of struggle with that one because it is purely short-term effect, but that has become a big market for immediate gratification. But what we did is come up with, I think, the best product like that on the market, but we put active ingredients in it that will affect your length and depth of lines and the puffiness permanently. So if you use even that product often enough, you'll get long-term effect as well as what we call being red carpet ready, or if you're going out for a special occasion, that's a tremendous product for that particular use. I would always say to everybody, the thing you want to do is commit to our scientific skincare system, and that would be just a product to use for special things. So, Barry, back to you.
All right, just thank you for being on the call tonight, but I'd like to turn it back over to our president, Mr. David Freed, to close out the call.
Okay, thanks again, Barry, and thanks for taking the time, everybody, to listen this evening. I'll close with just 2 points. We have, I Believe Your Eyes 90-day challenge program, and it comes with a challenge pack, and that also comes with an extended 90-day guarantee. And if you continue beyond the 90 days, the 4th month is absolutely free. Now, this is for brand brand partners, and it's also for your retail customers. So that's a thing that's really driving business for us. And secondly, you heard on the call tonight about our 82% purchase rate for those who use the sample packs. Well, we have a Share It pack, that's what we call it, that's loaded up with over $700 in retail value of our product for only $199. Now, because of that price, you can only buy that one time. That's a one-time purchase only. But in addition to that, we pay out $150 of the $199. That's how much confidence we have in our products. So go to the site, whoever it was that invited you to listen to the call tonight. Get all the details, those details on the Believe Your Eyes 90-Day Challenge and the Share It Pack, and much, much more on our site if you haven't been there already, or call the person responsible for you listening this evening. We look forward to the potential together. That's all for tonight. Good night, everybody.